year 6th grade. How are you today? I am super happy that you are joining me once again so we can continue learning together. We have some discussion to do today since I asked you to complete pages independently last class. Please get your textbooks and let's begin. So today is Thursday, May 7th. And our activities for today are discussing Check for Understanding questions from page 31. And we will also go over pages 85 and 86 that you completed on your own last class. So if you turn to page 31, you are going to see the Check Your Understanding questions that are at the end of the story from Athena. So we're going to fill this out together based on what we remember and what we discussed from the story. So what events had to happen for Athena to be born in such an unusual way? Well, for event 1, for example, we could say that a prophet told Zeus that Metis, his wife, was going to have a powerful deity. I think the second event we could mention was that Zeus was scared that the baby would one day overthrow him and take over his kingdom. So he decided to turn his own wife, Metis, into a fly and swallowed her. So cruel, right? Our third most important event was that Metis already knew about the prophecy when Zeus found out. She was already pregnant, so she decided to cast a spell to protect her baby. But Zeus did not know that. Okay, moving on to the second part of our page. We have to talk about the pros and the cons of having power over the seas and having power of wisdom. Now remember, Poseidon was the god of the seas and Athena had the power of wisdom. So when we talk about pros, we talk about advantages or positive things. And when we talk about cons, those are disadvantages or negative things. So what would be some of the positive things of having power over the seas? Well, we could say that you can swim well, you can control sea creatures, and you will never drown. Now, talking about the disadvantages of this would be that your power would not extend to land. Now, moving on to the pros or advantages of having the power of wisdom like Athena did. If you did, you would know about a lot of things. You would be able to outsmart others. That means, win in discussions or just because you're smarter than other people. And you would also be able to solve problems. Now, the disadvantage of the power of wisdom is that since you are so smart, you might not be physically strong. Okay, that is all regarding page 31. Now, remember, you could think of other pros and cons. I'm just giving you some suggestions, general ideas. Let's move on to the grammar pages. Okay, so for page 85, you are supposed to underline the direct objects in the sentences and circle the indirect ones. So remember, when we're looking for direct objects, you can ask the question what after the verb, and it'll be easier to identify them. So, number 1 says, Poseidon gave the city a giant waterfall. What did Poseidon give? A giant waterfall. Therefore, giant waterfall could be your direct object. Now, who did he give it to? To the city, right? So city is your indirect object in this sentence. Number 2 says, Athena brought them an olive tree. What did Athena bring? An olive tree. So olive tree is your direct object. Oops. Let's fix that. And who did she bring the olive tree to? To them, right? So in this case, them becomes your indirect object. Number 3 says the olive tree provided the townspeople oil, fruit, and building material. What did the olive tree provide? Oil, fruit, and building material is your direct object. Now, who does it provide it to? To the townspeople, right? So townspeople is your indirect object. Number 4 says the townspeople gave their town the name Athens in Athena's honor. What did they give? The name Athens. That is your direct object. Now, who did they give it to? To their town, right? So town is your indirect object. So this is what your answers should look like for page 85. Okay, moving along to page 86, let's discuss our answers together too. Here you're supposed to decide whether the words in bold are subjects, direct objects, or indirect objects. Number 1 says he offered her a flower. Now the word we have to identify is her, and in this case that would be an indirect object. Why? Because it's right between the verb, which is offered, and the direct object, which is flower. Remember, usually indirect objects are in between the verb and the direct object. Number 2 says John sold me his car, and in this case the word that's in bold is John, so that would be our subject because we are talking about John. Number 3 says I wished the Olympian good luck. So we have wished is our verb, good luck would be the direct object, and in between we have Olympian, which is our word in bold letters, so that would be our indirect object. Number 4 says Aristotle wrote many books about philosophy. Now my verb here is wrote, but the words that are in bold letters are many books. What did he write? Many books. So remember, everything that answers a question what directly after the verb is your direct object. Number 5 says Zeus gave his followers protection, and that is your word in bold letters. So if you notice, if you ask the question Zeus gave what answers the question is protection. Therefore, that is your direct object. Now moving on to the second part of the page, you're supposed to write your own sentences that include an object and an indirect object using the suggested words here. Now you could have added more words to the sentences if you wanted to make them more interesting or more complete, but I'm only going to give you suggested sentences. Of course, you can have different ones. The sample sentence I have for number 1 is, the Titans built Zeus a castle in the clouds. Now remember, an important thing for your sentences is to keep an eye for punctuation and capitalization. My sample sentence for number 2 says, we told Mom a lie so we wouldn't get in trouble. For number 3, I created the sentence, I bought her a grilled cheese sandwich. For number 4, I created the sentence, Jenny passed me the ball and I scored a touchdown. And for number 5, I created the sentence, Liz paid the mechanic $200 to fix her car. Okay, 6th grade, we have come to the end of today's lesson. I want to thank you as usual for keeping up with all of our content and doing all of your work. Remember, we have a Greek for a Week activity you need to upload by Sunday latest. Don't forget to do so. Have a wonderful weekend. I will talk to you next week. Bye-bye for now.